Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Monza, it's round 8. Welcome back to the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. 5.793 kilometres that lie in wait to the drivers here around a circuit that is staple and it certainly brings out legends. And we have seen, obviously, many legends cross the start-finish line and taking Italian Grand Prix in the Formula One in the past. These drivers looking to try and take that road to Formula One. First of all, though, getting past that of the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine with some of the very best drivers coming through the junior ranks, now forming up on the grid in this illustrious championship. And what a qualifying it was to match as well. A statement made by one Rafael Camara, who went and achieved pole after setting such a benchmark time of 1:47.029. Alongside him on the front row, an unlikely face, Marcus Amand, stunning everybody in Group A and managing to achieve a wonderful result for the ART Grand Prix team, who are looking for a big result to certainly help their season and trying to close out in decent style. We've got 3 rounds to go left in the championship, and we can't not talk about the illustrious championship fight up at the top end. Andrea Kimi Antonelli currently leads the way, 214 points coming into the weekend. 33 points behind him is Martinius Stenshorn, and our Race GP currently with 2 cars in the top 3 with Tim Tramnitz in 3rd. There we have it, Rafael Camara starting on pole position. Once again, for the 3rd time in succession, the Ferrari Academy driver is looking to elevate himself through this championship and tee up a potential big run and hopefully grant himself another race win of the season. Managing to nestle in his 3rd pole, as I alluded to. Now 4 drivers, all 4 in the top 4 of the championship, hold 3 poles apiece. 2 Premers, that of course being Andrea Kimi Antonelli and now Rafael Camara, but also 2 RAce GP cars, that of course being Martinius Stenshorn and Tim Tramnitz. There's Marcus Amand, who stunned everybody. What a performance from this young man, the Sauber Academy driver, who brings himself to the forefront yet again, front row of the grid, and he has a great chance of landing himself some big points here this afternoon, and much needed too. Of course, the highest result he has managed to sustain was a P8 back at Imola in race 2. Alessandro Giusti, though, and it's a case of champion versus champion on the 2nd row. Alessandro Giusti, a French F4 champion, he's alongside Andrea Kimi Antonelli, champion in ADAC F4, and also a champion in Italian F4 as well. And what a monumental challenge that's going to be. But Giusti recently bringing together some of the best form we have seen from him. And certainly the last round at Austria, at Spielberg, was his best round to date. P2 in race 1 and a P1 in race 2. And that was his 2nd race win of the season. Paul Ricard gifting him a home race victory back in race 1. So credit to him. And he'll be back again looking to challenge for the big points. We also caught sight of Michael Belov as well, who was also in tight contention with Roman Belinsky in Austria. And they're back this time around. And Michael Belov not far behind the front end of things. And incidentally be looking for a big launch. Currently starting P5 with Tim Tramnitz alongside him. And Owen Tangavellu forms up in 7th. Matteo Capietto will be with him too. Great start as well for the RPM team, who introduced a new driver to the forefront. And that being Noah Stromstead, who was extremely brilliant throughout the start of qualifying. 6th row of the grid, and starting, certainly in a good vein of form. And what a way to start too. And is known to certainly rise to the challenge. Has been sensational in many ways. And since joining the team, I think there's a lot of excitement around the RPM garage about this young man. Finished P2 in the Danish F4 Championship in 2021, and won pole in 6 races in Spanish F4 in 2022, but competed strongly in the F4 UAE, where he would achieve a podium in 15 races. But he just seems to have brought a new level to his game here at the Formula Regional European Championship. And look out for car 57, all in green. Here is the grid. Rafael Camara starting on pole, Marcus Amand in 2nd. Alessandro Giusti starts 3rd, with Andrea Kimi Antonelli in 4th place. P5 goes to Michael Belov, Tim Tramnitz alongside him, Owen Tangavellu in 7th place, Matteo Capietto alongside him in 8th for RPM. P9 would of course go for the car behind him, Victor Bernier. MP Motorsport actually looked in good form coming into this one. They've got both their cars on the same row. Sami Megatunov alongside him. These two were at the sharp end during practice 1. Noah Stromstead, we just alluded to his great form, 11th place, with Lawrence Van Hoopen in 12th. Of course, Lawrence Van Hoopen bringing friend and coach in many ways, Nick de Vries, with him to Paul Ricard. And Nikhil Bora starts behind them in 13th. Roman Belinsky also for Trident in 14th place. Hadrian David on his return. Of course, winner here back in 2021 for the RSGP team. He's here for Monolight this time in 15th. Ferrari Academy driver Meyer Berg alongside him. Lorenzo Flusha starts 17th. Kaz Havercourt in 18th for Van Amersfoort Racing, who are looking for a big race this time around. Qualifying did not quite go to plan. Martinia Stenshorn, surprising to see him down in 19th. Currently second in the championship, leading the rookie standings. Joshua Dirksen alongside him in 20th for Arden Motorsport. P21, that of course goes to Santiago Ramos, the Mexican, alongside Tom Leben, representing the Arden Motorsport team in 22nd place. Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. in 23rd with fellow teammate Esteban Masson, who pulled together Sansalot Racing's first podium back at Paul Ricard. Jesse Carrasquedo lines up in 25th with Enzo Scianti in 26th. Levente Ravesh in 27th place with Pierre Alexandre Prevost there in 28th place. 29th goes to Giovanni Maschio. Niels Kuhlen lines up in 30th. Matthias Zagazzetta, who was a little bit despondent after Austria, looking to bring back his best form and hoping for a good race here at Monza. Ivan Klemenko joins him on the same row. William Carlson, one of the new faces of the championship for Kick Motorsport in 33rd. Timotush Kudkarczyk also at the back of the grid, brand new to the series this season. But the sunshine has certainly elevated the temperatures of proceedings. The track currently sits at a reasonably warm 39.8. We've had lots of racing already, just had the Euro 4 championship running out onto the circuit. And for those of you who don't know, my name is of course George Morgan. I'm your commentator for this race weekend at Monza, and to take you through today's action. Of course, we saw, like I said, a very spicy qualifying session with times flickering across, and great chance here for Marcus Amand to bring his best form to the table, an opportunity that they have not yet managed to grasp right through the season. You can just see there gesturing to his ART comrade now as the garage and pit crews now leave the grid and will be under formation lap proceedings. Rafael Camaro will lead them away, and he'll be hoping to achieve yet another victory in his own right. Of course, we look back earlier on at Timotush Kudkarczyk, and whilst he's on the back of the grid this time around, has been karting since 2015 to 2021, and back in 2022, Spanish F4 achieved 1 win and 12 podiums, finishing 3rd in the championship that season, and was 4th in the championship in GB3 as well. So the Pole has got some real presence out on track. So keep your eyes peeled on him. It might be the case that new to the series, getting used to the car, it's always a challenge for many a driver who is stepping into a championship for the first time, especially when it's established through the season. Just hear the revving of engines as we have the marshals on the side with the yellow flags at hand. Hopefully no need for them very early on, but Kamara now takes them off the grid as they now look to get set on the formation lap. And in behind you just see there Giusti making his way off, as well as that of Tim Tramnitz. Should be in for a big treat, certainly a big race, and especially given the fact with everything that's on the line here this afternoon, and the championship could yet take a serious turn. 33 points up at the sharp end, and with Stenshorn so far back, he's got a lot of work to do to obviously try and elevate his proceedings here, and trying to get close to Kimi in the early going would be ideal. But I'm sure that Andrea Kimi Antonelli, given Prama's superb form around this very circuit and as part of this very championship, of course they've had some great winners in the past, including that of Frederick Vesti back in 2019, and Oliver Rasmussen the season after that, and not to mention the various others that have been at the forefront, including that of Dino Beganovic and Paul Aaron last season. And, no doubt that Rafael Camaro would also like to levy his hopes against them too. As we see the cars now cruising through Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. So who's it going to be heading into the Rettifilo chicane? There are many points on this track that are certainly up for question. Plenty of overtaking areas, places where drivers can make mistakes. 11 turns in total. This circuit breaking ground back on the 15th of May 1922. Opened up the same year on the 3rd of September. Of course, the crowds tend to flock inwards for the Formula One Italian Grand Prix, home of the Tifosi as well. And here the representatives of them, no doubt, will be Prema. It's a very important weekend for them, and could be a pivotal one in the championship for Andrea Kimi Antonelli. As they head through now towards the Ascari chicane, out of the Serralio straight and down the final straight before they then encounter Curva Alboreto. That's certainly going to provide many an opportunity for a run down that home stretch too. Getting the tyres warmed up is necessary, as you can imagine, obviously given the fact that they're all looking to try and make sure they get the same stickiness on the compound to ensure that they have the grip heading into some of those chicanes. They're very dogged, very tight, and grip is ever so vital. And whilst there's not necessarily as much downforce required in comparison to many other circuits that we visit here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, timing of the brakes is necessary, and that's something the drivers are going to have to contest with, and, especially in the opening laps where the tyres might not necessarily be up to the optimal temperatures that you'd expect. There we see Sami Megatunov and Victor Bernier getting themselves set, a double MP fixture on the same row of the grid, currently occupying row 5. Both very impressive in FP1. Sami Megatunov notching together a 153.036 and sporting a very, very nice helmet, of course, in tribute to that of Delano Van Toff. And MP Motorsport will continue and always, I'd imagine, race for Delano Van Toff, as we now see them line up onto the grid for the very first race of the Monza weekend here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. It's going to be stellar, with only a small matter of 6 races ahead of us before the end of the championship. It could be decisive this weekend. Monza, like I said, creates legends. Are we about to create some more here this afternoon? So we see the cars line up in behind now. The marshals very shortly will wave the green flags and we'll be underway. The run down towards turn 1 is going to be vital. Can Kamara hold the front row? Will Marcus Amann spring a surprise and lead the way? Or will it be someone from row 2? Will it be Giusti? Will it be Antonelli? A big weekend set out right in front of us with both groups in tandem lined up onto the grid. The revving of engines as the drivers await to get going. They're all set. The marshals waving the green flag. And the lights go red. 3rd light, 4th light, and the 5th light. And it's pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Rafael Kamara, Marcus Amann got a very nice launch off 2nd place and is now looking to try and challenge down towards turn 1. If he gets his braking point right, he might yet get Kamara. Heading down now in towards turn 1. The Sauber Academy driver goes in deep. He leads here at Monza. It is Marcus Amann who leads the way. A very busy segment as well. We saw a car going off with the Rettifilio running wide. 2 cars as well taking the escape road, but it's Marcus Amann out in front. Andrea Kimi, Antonelli all over the back of his teammate as well. They ran the Curva Grande now. Also, we got a little bit of a mix-up there with the RPM cars looking to fight their way through to the front end now as we see them all get organised. Heading down now in towards the Rogers chicane. It is still Amann in front, challenging there at the top as well as we see Kamara and Antonelli coming together as they hurtle through Lesmo 1. What a start, exactly what Marcus Amann was looking for. We just caught a glimpse there as well. Matteo Capietto up into the top 10, of course, challenging Sami Megatunov, who had a fantastic start in his own right, as did Victor Bernier. Michael Belov there in 5th place as well. Tim Tramnitz got swallowed up ever so slightly, but he's still in the mix as we're now seeing the cars make their way down the straight. Laventia Ravesh also giving chase down Serralio. They head now into Ascari. Leading the way, Marcus Amann, the launch that he needed, a fantastic one as well, as he skips through, doesn't barely scratch the curbs, heading out of Ascari as he bombs now down through towards round the Curva Alboreto for the first time on a racing lap. And we just see as well Belinsky trying to challenge there at the tail of the field as he looks to try and grow his places now. Big squeal of the tyres. We got some side-by-side action further down as well. Lorenzo Flusha coming under attack here. They come through the in-swinging right-hander. He's got Hadrian David for company and Lawrence Van Hoopen as well. Oh, a car running very wide there. Didn't quite see who that was as they now head down the straight. Once again, to break in yet another lap. Lap 2. Lorenzo Flusha coming under attack as well. We've got some movements happening further up. Alessandro Giusti being joined by Michael Belov around the outside. Both of them lock up. Belov probably did the worst of it, but for control of the car, sensational, brilliant enough to hold on. Flusha locks up. Several cars locking up as they head in towards turn 1. Might be the case they haven't necessarily got the temperatures in that they may have preferred as they enter the Curva Grande. Flusha doing enough though. to keep the onslaught behind. I mean, Noah Stromsted's performance so far this weekend has been certainly stellar. Marcus Amann now losing the lead. Antonelli takes the lead now here at Monza. A stellar showing. Just managed to skip through the Roggia and take the advantage there. Marcus Amann losing out. They made their way out of that section, coming out of turn 5. And it's Andrea Kimi Antonelli with a lead here at the Italian Grand Prix circuit of Monza. Through goes Matteo Capietto as well. And goes ahead of Tim Tramnitz, who loses out but might get another chance heading down the straight should he get into the aero. Fabulous race so far here in lap 2 already. Only 3 minutes have been made heading through the start of this race, and now it's Andrea Kimi Antonelli who holds his own. Rafael Kamara seems to have lost out. We've lost him somewhere. He's dropping down the field, Kamara. Couldn't quite see him in the top 3. Wasn't quite sure with where he went, but we got yellow flags. A car has stopped. Now that's the Van Amersfoort 13. That's Carrasquedo, who has gone off the track. I'm just looking on my screen to see whether we can see Rafael Kamara. He's still going, I believe, around the circuit, but the safety car has been brought out. I was just trying to see what actually happened during that fray, but Kamara losing out and unfortunately has dropped down to 30th place, just ahead of Matthias Zagazzetta and in behind Carlson, who's currently sat in 29th. So Rafael Kamara not getting the race he would have wanted, but Prema with a car on top, and it's Andrea Kimi Antonelli who leads the way in the early goings of this race. Marcus Amann, oh, and there he is. There's Kamara. Rafael Kamara, there's obviously a terminal issue with the car and losing place after place, dropping down through the field. The man who was challenging for the race lead from Marcus Amann, the man who started on pole, no doubt despondent, and I think that's Giovanni Maschio as well. Or is that Carrasquedo? No, it's Carrasquedo. Yes, it is. Oh, and Maschio. Maschio's out too, so there we have it. Giovanni Maschio is out, along with Carrasquedo in 33rd. He's now a DNF too, so 3 cars out with 25 minutes to go, plus 1 lap. And just a reminder of the current lineups here in terms of the standing orders. We got Antonelli in 1st, Marcus Amann in 2nd, Michael Belov now up in 3rd, Giusti in 4th. Victor Bernier has travelled such a long way and has gone up into 5th. Matteo Capietto in 6th, Tramnitz down to 7th. Hasn't been an easy start for Tramnitz. Nikhil Bora has had a reasonable jump, 8th place. Sami Megatudif in the top 10. So that's 2 MP Motorsports now in that top 10 too. And Trident also with Owen Tangavellu, currently sat in 10th place. Noah Stromsted up into 11th. Lorenzo Flusha 12th. Lawrence Van Hoopen in 13th. Hadrian David currently ahead of Martinez Stenshorn, who is 15th fastest in this order. And there's Kamara taking the car towards the pit lane. It does look like there might be an issue with it at this point. A little bit of work for the Prema garage to do, and certainly not the race that Rafael Kamara had in mind. Obviously, he was so confident. I think after qualifying, he certainly gave it everything. We spoke to him post-qualifying this morning. He said the team had done a tremendous job, and they certainly had done. But Antonelli grabbed it right from the get-go. The opportunity struck, and he took it. Now he's ahead of Marcus Amann, who still sits in 2nd and is having a very good race so far. Of course, remember, at Monza, given the straights, you have the utilisation of the push-to-pass system. 5 at the disposal of the drivers. Kamara now coming in, and they're just checking the car over, just to check for any issues. And we'll soon find out as to whether they will allow him to rejoin or not. He's still in the car, so obviously not an instant retirement just yet, but currently sat in the pits as they take a look at the suspension and the floor, everything underneath the cars. But at this stage in the pits, and the cars will continue around the track as the marshals continue under yellow conditions. They do a stellar job, as they always do. Antonelli taking them down towards turn 1, who'll be looking to notch together yet another victory. And at this point, after a stellar season for the young man, who is chasing, obviously, bright lights for the future, and obviously a lot of rumours flying around at the moment concerning that too. Rumours of Formula 2 and various teams interested, of course, part of the Mercedes Driver Academy. Obviously nothing set in stone just yet, but a fabulous race so far for him, and could yet bring together his 4th win of the season and his 9th podium. Safety car confirmed by race controllers in this lap. So it will be Antonelli to take them away. He currently holds the fastest lap of the race as well, and has nailed together 4 fastest laps across this season. He will be faced so with Marcus Amand in behind, who can benefit off the slipstream if he can get the car in behind Antonelli. Potentially open the door heading in towards the Rettifilio chicane, and Michael Belov having a very good race so far. Has been fighting it out quite a lot this season, has achieved various top 10s. In fact, generally every race Michael Belov has either been P10 or P9. The only result he's had outside of that was, of course, the P5 that he brought together at Hungaroring in race 2. So if he finishes on the podium, not only will it be his best result of the season, it will be a first podium of the season for Michael Belov, but we've still got a fair amount of racing still to go yet as they head through the Ascari chicane once again. And on lap 4, of course, still got 21 minutes to bring you of action here at the Temple of Speed as they curtsy their way through the Ascari chicane. Of course, very testing for the drivers in terms of raw pace, ability. It's all about positioning as well, mentality. And there you can see all of them getting the heat into the rubber just to get that sticky surface back up again for when we go racing. And Antonelli now putting his foot down as they now send it towards the final corner. You can just see there Michael Belov with him behind Alessandro Giusti, and Antonelli not keen to wait around. Heads through the Curva Alboreto, formerly known as the Parabolica, and it will be pedal to the metal for the 2nd time in this race now. And certainly Antonelli getting us underway here in green flag conditions. Marcus Amand in hot pursuit has got Michael Belov chasing him on his tail as well as they head down through towards the Rettifilio chicane. Side by side now between that of Marcus Amand and Michael Belov. In behind you can see Alessandro Giusti watching it all unfold. Amand going defensive down to the inside. Another driver looking to make places is Nikhil Bora. Big crash! Oh, dearie me, there's an MP Motorsport car going off. Of course, that's car number 15. That's belonging to Sami Megatunev. Car 85 belonging to Matteo Capietto. They're in the gravel. And there's another Prema car going wide. I think that must be Lorenzo Fluscher, I think, heading towards the rear and behind. So now it's all on Antonelli, though it looks like that Prema car was still going. Oh, and that's Tim Tramnitz. Tim Tramnitz into the barrier. Not ideal at all for Tim Tramnitz. We did see another car go off wide. We could not quite capture it in the screen in time, but Tramnitz hurtling into the barrier as part of that 3-car scrap. They're headed over the first chicane, and the safety car is back out again for the 2nd time in this race. And unfortunately for Sami Megatunev, who I'm sure would have been looking for a big result, Matteo Capietto, you can imagine, obviously despondent, goes across to have a word and check in with Tim Tramnitz. Always like to see that, drivers making sure each other are okay, and unfortunately for Tim, he's going to be absolutely gutted with that. Of course, he's been in this championship fight. He's a twice a race winner this season. Came off the back of Spielberg, P3, another podium, and achieved a P4 and a P3 back at Paul Ricard as well, but just hasn't gone right for them today. I mean, RSGP have been working hard as always. Martini Stenshorn leading the rookie standings, 2nd overall. Tramnitz himself in the fight, came into the weekend 3rd in the championship. Let's take a look at the replay again, and we just saw, Megatunev went in so tight in towards turn 1, essentially made it a 3-wide picture heading through the first chicane. We saw a Kick Motorsport car going off. Well, that's a big smash, isn't it? A big collision. I think maybe locking up, just going in deep on the brakes. You can just see there, I think Sami Megatunev knew that the mistake was made, immediately holding his face as if, I can't believe it, but just ran a little too deep, and as a consequence, I think, collected Matteo Capietto and that of Tim Tramnitz, who was almost a bystander in that moment. Taking the outside line, of course, when he came together with Matteo Capietto, and in came then the MP Motorsport car, but nevertheless, good to see the drivers all out of the cars okay here at Monza. Of course, it still is on the cards for Victor Bernier, P5 now. So MP have certainly a brilliant, certainly have plenty of opportunity laying out in front of them. We have got confirmation that cars 77, 85, 15, that's all three of the drivers we've been discussing. Incident will be investigated after the race. So we will not hear as to the repercussions of that incident until after the race, folks. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, any steward's decisions can have direct implications into tomorrow's race too. So, of course, we've seen it happen in the past where it can intervene with where drivers start on the grid and penalties are issued, and a very stringent policy system in place with the stewards here at the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, and obviously as it can relate to the professionalism of the championship, they do such a good job. As we noticed, the safety car come through Ascari, the Kilbora in 6th, Owen Tangavellu in 7th. Great showing so far for Trident. And you can see them now heading through Ascari now. Car number 19 as well. We're seeing Esteban Masson in the thick of it too. Of course, he's been right in the mix of this. 11th place. The man who would grant Santalok Racing their first podium of the season and their first podium in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Of course, it's the first time they've entered single-seater racing. Of course, prior to this, they were, well, they still are very, very busy in the world of endurance racing, GT3. And they've got a vastly dedicated team behind them as they now head around on another lap under the yellow flag conditions. Full course yellow, 15 minutes and 30 still to go, plus the one lap that they have in front of them. Kimi Antonelli still out on top. Marcus Amann still in 2nd place. Michael Belov in 3rd. It hasn't changed since the previous safety car. So all three unperturbed up at the front. We have also got in behind Bernier doing the necessaries for MP Motorsport. Giusti in 4th. It's still a case that we've got two of the champions from Italian F4, ADAC F4, not to mention also the French F4 Championship, which is great to see as well, that they step up here to the Formula Regional European Championship, and I hope then of them proceeding into the FIA-governed Formula 3, Formula 2 and Formula 1, and of course Formula Regional European Championship itself, also a recognised FIA championship. So they head around the Curva Grande. Antonelli, the Italian, who has been so prosaic this season. P2s in his first 4 races, 3 of them, in fact, 3 P2s in the first 4 races. Didn't have it easy at Hungaroring, though. P5 in race 1, race 2, P6. Probably his worst round of the championship. Since then, though, Spa, he had a victory in race 2 and a victory at Mugello. Of course, that has been his best performing weekend, a P2 and a P1 at Mugello in race 1 and race 2 consecutively. And once again, bringing his best form to an Italian circuit. And another plethora of points, no doubt, going towards him should he finish like this, and will only strengthen his position in terms of the championship as well. Martini Stenshorn, his closest rival, sat in 10th at this stage, still in the points, and currently chasing after Noah Stromstead, as the safety car is confirmed in this lap. Race control have confirmed it with us, and we'll be back under racing conditions here once again. As they head out now, the Ascari chicane, down the straight once again. Of course, Prema looking to once again, we allude to the successes of Dino Beganovic and also Paul Aron, who's since moved up to Formula 3. Frederick Vesti, of course, competing in the Formula 2 Championship with Oliver Behrman alongside him. And they have a proven pedigree for producing great drivers for the future. And now, once again, we're going to be seeing perhaps another great driver now take them around once again, and puts his foot to the floor, heading around the Curva Alboreto with Marcus Amann in hot pursuit. And the yellow flags that once waved will turn green. And once again, Michael Belov, as we hit pedal to the metal for the third time in this race now, chasing the tail of Marcus Amand. Remember, this happened in the last restart as well. Belov going off to take 2 as they head down towards that to the Red Sevilla chicane. Nikhil Bora having an outstanding restart as well, flittering all over the back of Victor Bernier. Amand going defensive in towards turn 1. Can he hold the place? He can. Comes out another car jetting up to the outside, another collision. I think that was also, another RPM that might have found its way off track. Just having a look now, is that what I think it is? Just looking at coming through now, car number 18, Lawrence Van Hoopen, running off wide. Joshua Dirksen coming through Curva Grande, chasing after a Santalot car as well as they head down through towards the next chicane. It is indeed Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. Michael Belov, oh goodness me, a collision there with Marcus Amand, got in tight to the Rogier, spinning it, heading through the chicane and pivoted, heading into the gravel trap. So Michael Belov, I believe that is, going around at that section and having a good restart. He was all over the back of Marcus Amand, but unfortunately coming through that segment, another car going off wide at Lesmo too, and that's Lawrence Van Hoopen, who's got Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. now haunting his rear wing as they head down now the Seraglio Straight. Once again it's Marcus Amand, yellow flag, safety car out again. Goodness me. Another safety car here in proceedings with 11 minutes to go. No doubt as a consequence, it is indeed car number 30 of that of Michael Belov. Goodness me, a massive moment heading through Rogier, because they were battling for P2 up at the front end. They came together, and Marcus Amand, unfortunately, here's the replay. They went wheel to wheel, just little to no room. Oh, goodness me, you'd have to look really at Marcus Amand's onboard to see whether enough room was made. We did have another moment as well. That was Lawrence Van Hoopen just stepping into the gravel trap on the exit, coming out of Lesmo 1. And there's Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. behind him as well, giving chase down the Seraglio Straight. But we also had some major moments heading down towards turn 1 as well at the restart. I can confirm that cars 25 and 30 will be looked at. So that is the collision with Marcus Amand and Michael Belov. They're coming together at turn 5, heading through the Rogier chicane. A huge moment where, of course, they cross paths, and it is a tricky chicane, of course, you know, very, very little room. And if you run it too deep, it can have pretty tricky consequences. And you could argue that maybe that was the case. I'm just seeing Rafael Camara's car come into the pits. So that looks like it will be a retirement. Obviously, I think just running the car out for a few laps to check everything's okay. But the car now coming into the pits, and it's been a tricky day for Rafael Camara. Started on pole position, but wasn't able to convert it to a positive result. Obviously, some issues happening up at the sharp end. Prema, though, still with a car out in front as we now filter into the final 9.5 minutes of racing. It's Amand putting in a stout defence, but will he be penalised? Will there be consequences after the collision heading through Rogier? Alessandro Giusti as well, all over the rear, just waiting to pounce. We've got Victor Bernier now up to 4th place. Nikhil Bora having a fantastic race as well, gaining positions in his own right. And what about Martini Stenshorn now in 7th? Utilising these safety cars, starting to move up a little piece at a time. Remember, he was 10th place in the safety car previous. Has gained an almighty 3 places. And also Esteban Masson, who was also successful back at Paul Ricard. As they filter through the Ascari chicane once again. Stenshorn, who currently leads the rookie standings, and does so with quite a gap to P2's Alessandro Giusti. Was the race winner back at Paul Ricard, and then followed it up with another one at Austria Red Bull Ring. 96 points now between the pair of them. Giusti coming into the best form of his season so far. Best weekend, matching that of Kimi's pretty much. P2 at Spielberg in race 1, and the victory then in race 2 as they enter Kerber Alboreto again. This is lap 9, next one will be lap 10. They'll remain under safety car conditions for the time being. At this stage, still Andrea Kimi Antonelli holding on to the fastest lap of the race, and of course set in lap 2. And they'll head down towards the Rettifilio once again. And still making sure those tyres are up to temperature. Kimi chasing his 4th win of the season to match Martini Stenshorn, who had the most wins of anybody in this championship. It'll be a 9th podium as well to go with that accolade. And it does give him a huge helm on the championship should he pull this off. And it brings the deficit out so much further. With 25 points going to the winner, of course, Stenshorn, should he remain like this in P7, will grasp only 6. So, like I said, the consequences here at Monza, as it always is generally, with its position in this place of the calendar, quite decisive in terms of the championship. Of course, if it finishes like this, Kimi will now have 239 points, which I'm sure, like many would agree, because he has a vast fan base. Many of them here as well at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. Home race for Prema. Could be a big weekend for them. Of course, they would have liked, I'm sure, Rafael Kamara to finish too. And he could have been the one to bring home the race victory, and no doubt very disappointed with how it's turned out. But we'll have a chance to come back tomorrow. Kamara is still out on track though, just 3 laps down in behind. He has pitted in. We haven't seen the car re-enter. Adrian David is showing pitting in as well. It might have made his way back out again. Safety car confirmed by race control coming in this lap. Antonelli will take them through the Ascari chicane on yet another lap here, this time under safety car procedure. They're going to have 5 minutes of racing after this. Still a chance here for Marcus Amann to perhaps bring the big results. Giusti, though, however, I'm sure will be looking to bring something massive in his own right. Has been so prosaic for G4 Racing this season, and like I said, twice a race winner. 3 podiums already nurtured, 2 pole positions. And a young man in his rookie season. Got so many talented rookies here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine this season, and Martini Stenshorn certainly has led the way in that fact. But now Andrea Kimi Antonelli takes us through the Curva Alboreto once again, and the clock now strikes to the final 5 minutes. Very, very shortly they're going to put pedal to the metal for the 4th time in this race now, under green conditions. Down they go towards the Rettifilio chicane. Alessandro Giusti trying to follow on from what Michael Belov was doing. This time to Marcus Amann. Will he be successful this time, heading through towards the Rettifilio chicane? The 2 Tridents also looking to rise. Martini Stenshorn going in deep around the outside as well as they come together through turn 1. Still Amann in second. Forming in behind there is Alessandro Giusti. Another car escaping to the outside as well. They're not the only ones. Quite a plethora of them doing exactly that. I think that's an RPM that in fact found its way through the barriers, and I believe that might have been Stromstead who was trying to push his way forward. But as they ran the Curva Grande, heading down into the Roggia, Joshua Dirksen I think now facing a little bit of pressure. Martini Stenshorn trying to cover off the outside, as now we see some side-by-side between Amann and Giusti. Giusti through, but is that an off-track? He'll surely have to give the position as they head through towards Lesmo 1. Through goes Amann. He does indeed give back the position, but now Victor Bernier has joined in the fray, heading through towards Lesmo 2. Serralio straight up next. Giusti knows what's on the line. He'll try and get into the aero of car in P2. Amann has got to put his best defensive helmet on this time if he wants to remain in second. A car dipping off into the gravel. That is Pierre-Alexandre Prevost, and there is a Van Amersfoort car, and that's Kaz Havercourt. Havercourt with clear rear suspension damage. The wheel is looking a little bit squirrely up on the rear right. And unfortunately for Kaz Havercourt, that looks like it's his day done as they head now through the Ascari chicane. It's still Andrea Kimi Antonelli out in front. Amann trying to soak up all the pressure as they head in towards the final corner at Curva Alboreto. There's Kaz Havercourt's car, I think, car number 27. And indeed it is. As they put it into a safe space, they're trying to avoid the safety car coming out, I think, again, consecutively. The marshals doing a stellar job, as they always do, as they hurtle down to begin yet another lap on this occasion. Here we go again. We have got certainly a battle between the Santalon, who's quickly being joined by Laurens Van Hoopen. Esteban Masson under pressure as he skips to the inside. Outside line then for Van Hoopen, currently sat in 9th. He's looking for 8th. Can he achieve it? Heading in towards Rettofilio. Turn 1 and 2 lined up. The Tiger line for Laurens Van Hoopen. He moves ahead now of him. 8th place now for Van Hoopen as Masson looks to try and challenge him back, heading around the Curva Grande. Side by side, he'll look for the outside. Far too long, though, to go around that way as Andrea Kimi Antonelli nestles in another fastest lap of the race. And look at the gap at the top. 1.5 seconds is the difference between that of Amand and Antonelli. A stellar showing here from the Italian at his home race this weekend as well. We've got more side-by-side action as well further back. As we're seeing them come together, you can just see them now filtering out through Lesmo 1, very shortly through Lesmo 2, and a few more squabbles happening further back of that too. As we come back in shot, there's Laurens Van Hoopen, Esteban Masson following suit. We've got Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. Of course, has been up at the sharp end of this too. Big points on the, well, potential points on the table here for Fittipaldi. As they head down the straight at Seraglio and in towards the Ascari chicane once again. Just under 2 minutes to go, plus 1 lap. Marcus Amand doing a stellar job keeping Giusti at bay. Because we will find out about the steward's notes with regards to his collision with Micah Belov, I'm sure very, very soon, heading through Rogier. But now as they make their way down towards Curva Alboreto, Amand has got to keep that at the back of his mind. A first podium of the season is on the line if he can bring it home. We see some defensive work here from Fittipaldi, who's coming under pressure himself now. Joshua Dirksen, the Paraguayan, who knows how to get podiums. He achieved a podium this season back at Spa-Francorchamps. Looking to do the same, well, certainly trying to achieve some points at the very least. He could do that. Marcus Amand, though, with the fastest lap of the race now as he leaves everything to the last minute. Of course, you can imagine trying to defend this second place. It's such a huge result for ART, should he be able to pull it off. And Alessandro Giusti looking to bring home yet another podium. Third podium in 3 consecutive rounds would be ideal for the Frenchman as they head around the Curva Grande now. Victor Bernier watching all this unfold too, currently sat in 4th as well. For the MP Motorsport team, Nikhil Bora, I'll say it again, a fantastic race so far as we have a look to the outside from Alessandro Giusti. Marcus Amand not perturbed, and this is the moment heading in towards turn 1. Now this was the incident I saw earlier on, and I believe that's Hadrian David. So that is David, who spun earlier on. I think on my screen, heading through towards turn 1. Of course, he had a bit of a moment heading through that section. There is Martini Stenchorn, who has had the rise of his life. He's up to 6th place now and sits in ahead of Owen Tangavelu. He's really starting to chip away at that wood. And Martini Stenchorn, there's one thing we know about him. He's got a flair behind the wheel. And now marching his way down towards the Curva Alboreto. He's going to look to try and marshal in another sensational final lap. Is now rounding the final corner. This time, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. As they head down towards turn 1 for the final time here in this race. Andrea Kimi Antonelli takes them round the final lap. Marcus Amand still in 2nd, utilising the pace, no doubt the push to pass as well to great effect. He has broken away from Giusti and he can in fact bring himself into contention with Andrea Kimi Antonelli. There is a whole, only just a mere second between them. That's since dropped down now into the 8/10 mark, coming out of turn 2. Has Andrea Kimi Antonelli done enough to hold on to the lead? There's a few squabbles happening further back. Lorenzo Fluscher and Roman Belinsky also coming together too. And also another stellar showing as well from Kaharczyk, representing his new team. The pole, as we now see Stenchorn now going defensive as they come together. Inside, outside, heading through towards the Rogier chicane. Nikhil Bora managing to hold on, but Stenchorn, I think, might have his number, and he certainly does. Stenchorn now holding on to 5th, ahead of that of Nikhil Bora, as they ran the 2 Lesmo corners. Now, as they make their way down this next straight, down Seraglio. In fact, I think Bora's has been given the place back, incidentally. Just looking at my timing screen, they reversed the placings. And Kimi now will take them through the Ascari for the final time. Giusti marches his way through as well. Marcus Amand, who has driven certainly brilliantly certainly incidents aside, it's been a huge charge to try and protect that P2 place. You can just see further back, Nikhil Bora also trying to pecker his way on the back, but the two teammates are trying coming together. In fact, we saw Tangavellu switching to the outside, but we now see Andrea Kimi Antonelli, the Italian, his last certainly his last trip around an Italian circuit was successful. He's done it again. He's a victor here at Monza. A sensational result here for the Prema team. It's Andrea Kimi Antonelli who wins here at Monza. The Temple of Speed are light here. And the Italian team are victors here at the Italian circuit. In the last gasp, Alessandro Giusti takes the fastest lap, and also a P3 to boot. Marcus Zaman, though, take a bow, second place, and a wonderful trip around the Monza circuit. But this man has done it again. It's win number 4 for Andrea Kimi Antonelli and strengthens his hold on the championship. Martini Stenshorn drove impeccably to try and bring himself back into the big points prizes. And with that 5th place, it's 10 points to his name, which I'm sure he'll be delighted with. And that puts him up to 191 points in the championship for Martini Stenshorn. But with the big points haul for Andrea Kimi Antonelli, it once again tightens his grip, as I alluded to, on this championship fight. And he can add it to his accolade as well, should he bring it home again. Of course, we've still got 3 rounds to go. A lot can happen. We've seen it time and time again in motorsport. But a sensational result for the Prema team and for that of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. You can hear the clapping as well as they cheer home their hometown hero. Let's take you through the results, folks. Andrea Kimi Antonelli takes victory here at Monza. Marcus Amann, a first podium for that of him and that of ART this season. Alessandro Giusti takes P3 and fastest lap. Victor Bernier in 4th. Martini Stenshorn, a mighty drive to claim P5. Nikhil Bora also driving very well indeed, 6th place, with Owen Tangavellu in 7th. Esteban Masson in the top 10 as well. Lawrence Van Hoopen in 9th. Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. with a stellar showing in 10th. Joshua Dirksen, who fought all the way, 11th. Maya Berg in 12th. Levente Ravesh in 13th, Santiago Ramos 14th, Tom Leben in 15th, Pierre-Alexandre Provost in 16th, Roman Belinsky in 17th, Timotush as well, Kakarczyk down in 18th. We'll take you through to the bottom 10. William Carlson in 21st, Ivan Klemenko in 22nd. We've got Matthias Sagazetta further back then to an Enzo Scianti in 24th. Lorenzo Fluscher incidentally finishing 19th, Niels Coulin in 20th place, and Carlson finishing in 21st. But Andrea Kimi Antonelli, your victor here at the Temple of Speed. And another victory for him to savour in his quest for the title. And Prema will watch on and also celebrate with this young man. Skips towards the team. And many of the fans who are watching on. Fantastic result here for him. And what a way to start the weekend as well. Second row was where he started. And he'll be looking to perhaps gather yet another grandiose performance tomorrow, where of course we'll hit qualifying 2 in the morning. An earlier start tomorrow morning in comparison to this morning. But we'll take you through the top 3. Alessandro Giusti finishing in 3rd for G4 Racing. Marcus Amann, his first podium of the season and a first podium as well for ART. A grand result for them. But Prema are back on top here at Monza once again. It's Andrea Kimi Antonelli, championship leader. What a CV this young man has. We've alluded to his brilliance in karting, not to mention his stellar showing in F4, in both ADAC and that of the Italian F4 as well. Looking to add the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine Championship. Let's take you through the highlights of the race as well. A strong getaway from both the front runners. Kimi got a great start too in 3rd place. He jumped up immediately. Of course, it wasn't quite so good for Alessandro Giusti, who had a little bit of work to do. But as they headed down in towards turn 1, Michael Belov got a very mean start too and led the way. He had a couple of lockups further back, but it was relatively clean. A couple of cars escaping to the side road and venturing back into the circuit. We had a mighty coming together as well, as we saw cars and once again cut into the escapes heading through the Rogier chicane. But filing their way through the Lesmo, Kamara still took them through and led. Unfortunately, though, this was where we lost him. He slowed down, heading down towards the Ascari chicane, down the Seraglio straight. And unfortunately, that would bring an end to his day. But then we saw Andrea Kimi Antonelli take the lead as well ahead of Marcus Amand, who missed out a massive three-car collision with Tim Tramnitz heading into the barrier. Sami Megatunif and Matteo Capietto coming together through turn one. But as we got the restart underway, Marcus Amand had to put his best defensive helmets on, coming together with Michael Belov, heading down in towards the Rogier, though they came together still, rumbling over the curbs, unfortunately getting in too tight. Michael Belov into the gravel trap on the outside of the Rogier. Kaz Havercourt had a heartbreaking start to his weekend with a rear right tyre buckling away, so clear suspension damage. Cars spinning as well, with Hadrian David losing out as well. Just wasn't the start to his weekend that he was looking for. But as they made their way through towards Curva Curva Alboreto, also known as the Parabolica, it was Andrea Kimi Antonelli who led them through. And after a stellar season so far, the championship leader took his crown in terms of the race win here at Monza, his first of the weekend, and one I'm sure the hometown will enjoy. And the hometown hero celebrated as he lined up in Parc Ferme. A great showing as well from Marcus Amand. We've alluded to his superb qualifying that granted him the fastest lap in his Group A, and managed to fend off Andrea Kimi Antonelli. And I think if you heard there as well, feeling better, obviously that alludes to his qualifying this morning. I managed to catch up with Rafael Kamara afterwards, and Kimi looked a little despondent after qualifying. He's always demanded a lot of himself, and this is no different. Certainly winning races is in his pedigree, it's in his blood. But he's back on top yet again. Alessandro Giusti, though, is going to celebrate, and he walks out onto the podium, takes a third place once again, and that's his fourth podium of the season. Marcus Amand standing tall on the second position on the podium himself. A stellar showing, first podium of the season, first one for ART. A massive moment for them, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli on the top step for the fourth time this season, and 9 podiums too. Alessandro Giusti, incidentally, also up there and challenging, but Marcus Amand this time will, in fact, according to the data here, will be the highest performing rookie in this race, so well done him. Prema, of course, will be celebrating too. We've alluded to their record here at this very track. We talk about Frederick Vesti, we talk about Oliver Rasmussen, Dino Beganovic, and Paul Aron. Andrea Kimi Antonelli will add his name to the list as well. Marcus Amand celebrating the P2 trophy. Last but not least, and I'm sure there'll be a big cheer for this one, a fan favourite here at Monza, it's Andrea Kimi Antonelli, everybody. Another race win, and one to celebrate here. Very special one as well. It's always special to come to the Italian Grand Prix circuit and be a winner. And the winning rookie is Marcus Amand, and he will celebrate that, I'm sure. 2 trophies he gets to take home with him this time. And we've got the Italian national anthem. Well, folks, it's been a pleasure. Join us tomorrow for qualifying in the morning and racing in the afternoon. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.
lap.